You all can be seated. Thank you, Naomi, for doing that. You'll notice in our program we're doing a little bit different than what we would normally do in a Rotary Club in a club meeting. Normally we go through the 4-week test and we go through them, we say our announcements and all that. We're not doing that. We're actually going to allow our primary speaker, to go first. So we've been blessed this past Friday. We found out that the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States was able to join with us. So we're going to actually have her give the presentation first. So I'm going to read the biography now for Oksana Markarova. She was appointed as Ukraine's ambassador to the United States and arrived in Washington, D.C. on April 20th, 2021. Prior to her appointment, she served as Ukraine's Minister of Finance in 2015 to 2020 as the Deputy Minister and Government Commissioner on Investments, and since then, 2018, the Minister of Finance. During her time in the ministry, she was the co-author of Ukraine's Microeconomic Revival Program, has concluded unprecedented fiscal consolidations, introduced midterm budgeting, as well as negotiated, structured, and coordinated 2 International Monetary Fund programs. Prior to her career in public service, Ms. Markarova spent 17 years working in private equity and finance advisory, which included several leadership roles, including one with the World Bank. Ambassador Markarova currently serves at the board of Ukraine House Foundation in Washington, D.C., the Ukrainian Development Foundation, and supports the Ukrainian Catholic University and the Ukrainian Press Museum Archive. She holds a Bachelor's of Science and a Master's degree in Environmental Science from Kyiv Mohyla Academy in Ukraine, and a Master's of Public Administration's degree from Finance from Indiana University. She's also married with 4 children and 1 grandson. Ambassador, welcome. Thank you for joining us for our program.
Thank you very much. As you all understand, to have a grandchild, this is my major achievement. But thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, Governor McAllister, for your kind introduction. I also would like to thank Daniel Fisher and the Metro Bethesda Rotary Club for having this great meeting here, but also for everything that you do. We know how much you are involved in helping not only Ukraine, but now in this particular situation, also Ukraine. I also would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for doing everything possible and impossible to help Ukraine at this moment. And it's not only the financial support through the Rotary, but I know how much all of you are doing by putting the Ukrainian flags outside, by writing or talking to your senators and congressmen. So thank you for that. I know we do not always start with thanks, but I decided that this is a separate occasion, and this presentation or speech should actually be about thank yous. I'm also very glad to see my good friend Marina Bayduk here, and I'm very happy that Rotary has partnered with United Help Ukraine and with Lviv Rotarians to do such an important work in Ukraine, to supply so much needed medical supplies, to work with hospitals in Lviv, which are now the hubs that are saving so many Ukrainians, not only in the western part of Ukraine, but essentially from all over the place, whether it's brave people who save the country right now, or children who are affected by unbelievable atrocities. So that help is not only much needed, but also much valued by everyone in Ukraine. The war is far from over, and as we speak today, for more than 8 months, Ukraine is a subject to a brutal, full-fledged war. The war that came to Ukraine 8 years ago, it's not a new war. But after February 24th, it turned into something unbelievable, even for those of us who knew what Russia's intentions have been all these 8 years. We see daily news of cities, towns, and villages being erased to the ground. We hear about horrible atrocities that happen in the areas which Russia still occupies. We see the Iranian drones flying over the peaceful cities all over the country with Russian ballistic missiles being fired from Belarus, from Caspian Sea, from everywhere in Russia, from Crimea, which is occupied, our Ukrainian Crimea, occupied by Russia, again, for more than 8 years. And recently, that all doubled with the efforts to essentially destroy all the heating, water, and electrical infrastructure in Kyiv and everywhere. Now, we see this devastation, we see this horrible suffering, we see the losses and we mourn them, but we also see that regardless of what Russians are doing to us over and over again, we also see what we said you will be all seeing: the bravery of Ukrainian people and our absolute resolution to defend our country, regardless of how much it takes. So we will not surrender, we will not give up, we will continue fighting because this is the only home we have. So we are fighting for our houses, for our loved ones, and we are fighting for our independence and for our freedom. And in that sense, this is the war for independence that I think is very close to every American. This is the war that all of you have in your hearts. You know this is something that you always have to fight for, and a war for democracy. Because again, make no mistake, this is the only reason Russia attacked us. Because they want to preserve their autocratic empire, and they cannot afford to have a country that was occupied by them for so many years to be successful, democratic country that delivers to its own people, to be such a bad example according to Putin and his cronies. Because looking at us, other people in Russia might think, well, this is the way to live, to elect your own presidents, to change them regularly, to exercise the democracy, and to return power to people. Because this is what we do in Ukraine, and this is what we are fighting for. Now, this fight is going to go on for some time, and we're very grateful to the US, to President Biden, to administration, to Congress on a very strong bipartisan basis. As we all move to Tuesday and elections are just around the corner, we are positive that regardless of the party, American people support us in this fight. Again, because this fight is so important for all of us. It's actually cheaper and better to defeat autocratic Putin while it's still in Ukraine, because he has been very clear that it's not only about Ukraine for him. And if we all collectively fail to stop him in Ukraine, it's going to take much more efforts and people and weapons and money to stop him elsewhere. So I think by the international support that we have now, it's clear that that mistake will not be made, that so many people now understand that Ukraine is not asking for boots on the ground. We still have lines of people at the subscription posts. But we need all the weapons, we need all the support, we need all the sanctions. And today, by thanking you for everything you've done, I would like to ask you to do more. We have all 40 million of Ukrainians, regardless of whether they are an ambassador like me, or an activist like Marina, or doctors, lawyers, soldiers, regardless of where we all are soldiers of our country. And we are doing everything in order to support and help if we cannot fight, in helping those that fight. If we cannot help those that fight, help to save lives. Help to some businesses to return to Ukraine. Help to repair quickly now, and hopefully move closer to the day when we win this war and we will start the rebuilding and reconstruction. But on that way, every help is very much appreciated and needed. We do have the United 24, which is an initiative started by the President of Ukraine. If you would like to use that and partner with United 24, and all the money will go to the bank accounts of 2 ministries for specific projects, we would be happy for your partnership with United 24. If you would like to partner with the First Lady Foundation, which will be focusing on the humanitarian needs, we would be happy to put you in contact with them. If you would like to help through the Ukraine House, our embassy-supported initiative here in Washington, D.C., a non-for-profit that works here, but also helping a number of projects like prosthetics for children in Ukraine. Or if you would like to help through United Help Ukraine or any other NGOs that you know, trust their reporting, know that they are good people, please do so. Every help counts, and also, especially after Tuesday, do not forget to call and write your congressmen and senators. This is very important so that we all together stay the course. The winter is going to be difficult in Ukraine. I know it's going to be difficult here as well, the rise in prices and everything else. We all are affected by Putin's ruthless actions, but we should not allow him or those around him to scare us and make us stop when we are so close to winning, because this is what we believe in Ukraine. Even though we are without lights and heat and sometimes without water, we all know we're going to win this war. God bless America and glory to Ukraine. Slava Ukraini. And thank you.